Hello, fellow gamers. Well, I'm putting together a combat simulation called Test Your Metal here for Mythras, and as you can see, I've already started. It's two lizardmen versus three heroes, and what we have here is, of course, Roll20, and I kind of borrowed a map from Afternoon Maps. Um, Shout out to them. I did use this without permission, and if they want me to take it down, I will take it down immediately. However, my viewership isn't such that I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference, but that's fine with me. I respect that. So I try to measure out all this movement first because, as you can see, I'd already rolled for initiative, which is 1d10 plus your initiative modifier. Originally, it had these little circles of highlights around the characters that were under fatigue for running. Um, but you don't have to. I forgot you don't have to make the athletics roll to move up to 3 times your movement. It's when you get that extra 25% using your athletic skill that you have to roll for movement, and then you get the bonus, or if you fail, you get fatigue. You still get the movement, but you end up with fatigue instead as well. I mean, and so here we have our three characters, and I had the archer, which is an elf, um, move all the way out. Having the lizards try to use cover as they move. They've already discovered each other, so there's no element of surprise or anything like that. I also have a dwarf who's a cleric, and he's going to use a bless spell here, so he's going to have to use um, his exhort skill, which he does, and adds 5% to both their die rolls for skills. And then I have a fighter, Vermunder, who I fashioned after a barbarian, and he's basically just a warrior. And he's he's got a big axe, and he likes to do a lot of damage with that. So he's also going to move out and head out to where his buddy, the archer, is, so that way he'll protect her as well. And hoping to get into a scrap, a one-on-one scrap, in melee, as opposed to all this shooting and firing and evading and dodging and all that stuff. He's not into that. So here we are again. Now, the one thing that's kind of confusing when you're using tabletop miniatures or a tabletop simulator is that you only get one. You can only move once, basically, and that's your action, right? But you can't. You may have 3 action points, and it may take you an action point to do movement, but you can only move once. You can't do like 3 movement phases in a turn for your actions. That's it. You can only move 6 meters walking per turn. I mean per action. I mean for a round. Sorry. Or you can do 3 times your um, movement for running in a round. And so attempting to use the bushes for cover was not enough. So Qualinera comes over here. She's got just enough movement. She also has the skirmishing talent, which allows her to move and fire. Alright, so she's going to try to roll to hit this dude. Of course, I had to take off that little thing. I think I also rolled for athletics. Yeah, that was a little mistake that I made. I rolled for athletics to show that they were fatigued. But you know what I didn't do is I didn't do the hard difficulty for their skilled. So it kind of worked out anyway, and I forgot about that. Um, And so here we are. She fired her weapon. She didn't make it. I think she used luck points at some point because her red is down. Of course, lizards don't. Lizard men, they're not going to have luck points because they're NPCs, non-player characters. And Skjalg, dwarf, who's going to come in. He's going to try to help out in melee. Try to get as close as he can. But he's also going to use a little bit of caution since he sees that other lizard man over there on the other side. That could cause him a lot of problems. So he does not want to go one-on-one with anybody. However, we do have Vermunder. He throws caution to the wind and goes straight for melee. He doesn't mind that other guy's back there and turns his back to him because you don't really have these facing rules unless you want to. There's facing rules in classic fantasy if you want to use those rules. Now I didn't use any facing rules. I just hey, this is just a simulation of combat, which is usually done in theater of the mind, not usually with miniatures on a board. But as you can see, it can get pretty involved here. The other thing too is I don't know exactly how many actions each character took because I usually keep track of it on a combat tracking sheet, and I didn't get one out and use that this time. I just kind of went with it, and I was trying to hurry because the original length of this video is actually something like an hour and a half, and of course I sped it up as you can see, so that way it's down to 17 minutes or so. But hopefully you can sort of see what's going on here with the die rolls. Of course, in the chat box on the right hand side, you can see the different difficulties: standard, hard, formidable, easy, very easy. And the number on the left is, of course, the number that they rolled. The number on the right is the number that they need to get. And we also have hit locations. I had done a couple of these before to try to get the speed down a little bit, and I still made a few more mistakes, but I forgot to reset some of the hit points, so you'll see me resetting, so I'm trying to reset some of the hit points in the different hit locations that didn't get hit yet. Also, I also rolled against, I believe, was Axo's Passions, because he's outnumbered, and he's getting hit, and he's losing hit points, and his buddy over there, the other lizard man, has not joined the melee yet, and so his hatred for his enemies kind of overrode his logic to leave, and so he hasn't disengaged yet, but he will try to disengage later, and you'll see that using a change range, right? So basically, with change range, you got to roll evasion, um, and also Gozuksa. I don't know how to say it, but also tried to disengage from combat near the end there. But Vermunder wasn't having it. He turned around and decided to put all his attention to the one. And I believe Skjalg will probably step in. Colinara is going for, let's see. Is this the one where she rolls critical? No. Okay, so there's one where Vermunder decides to disarm his opponent, which he successfully does, and the weapon ends up being over. There we go. Over there. because I rolled his damage modifier, which was one d2. Okay, so the weapon travels 1 or 2 meters. His damage modifier in meters away from the opponent, and so that's where that ended up. And Quilinar ends up um, switching her weapons to longsword um, as they continue to fight. And at some point, she rolls a 1, which is a critical. Wazaxo, the lizard man, parries, but even though his parry is successful, he gets 1 success, but the critical counts as 2 successes. So even though he parried damage, she was allowed to choose a special effect, and she chose to circumvent parry, I believe. And let's see, overextend opponent. Okay, so she chose overextend opponent at that point, which means he can't attack his next turn. And so this combat goes pretty quick. I'm just like, I kind of got lost trying to get it all done because I was trying to go so fast. Usually, when you have other people at the table, it's a lot faster because they know what they want to do. I'm usually just keeping track of the cycles as I go through, since I'm usually GMing, and then I'm keeping track of the monsters or the NPCs, and I've already got a handle on what they're gonna do usually. So it's not that difficult. This is kind of like I'm trying to figure out what the monsters are gonna do. I'm trying to figure out what each player would do. So it just kind of makes it a little bit more difficult to keep track of all that without a combat sheet. And let's see. I think this is the part where I was looking something up. Maybe this is where I was looking up for whose turn was it? Go Juksa or whatever. Maybe he's trying to disengage from combat at this point, where he will do evade. Yeah, this is where he does evade. He's trying to escape combat, and he fails, so he's stuck. Try to get down to try to keep track of the actions. But like I said, it's a little tedious ticking all these boxes on the computer for each different character on their character sheets or on their little miniatures. Um, but I think it didn't turn out too bad. And hopefully, this will give you an idea of how to conduct your own combats. Um, Question about shields, right? You can either parry with a weapon, and you can still use a ward location, um, passive blocking with the shield, right? If you have the weapon and shield combination there. So you should be able to um, use those to your advantage. I didn't use the weapon and shield combination advantage here for some reason. Like I said, I forgot a couple of things, and it just kind of all got jumbled in my head. But other than that, it all went okay. So as you can see, they're still bashing each other, trying to kill each other, and yeah, one of them's trying to evade and disengage. There you go. Was Axos disengaging? Okay. So when you disengage from combat, you disengage far enough for it to be effective, so they don't just like step right back into you. They actually have to use a movement or something to chase after you, right? So Kulinara, I believe, um, put away her long sword, and I think she was going to switch over to longbow. And then you have um, the other lizard man who was going to also disengage from combat, but ended up getting nailed, unconscious, unable to fight because of major wound. Says sheathed longsword. So she puts away her longsword. He takes off to a safe space. Basically, that means he's going off the map. He's getting out of there. So he escapes combat, leaving his other lizard men there to handle it on his own, which he doesn't. And, of course, Doom. Anyways, well, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments down below. I thank you, and I hope you have a great time gaming. Thank you for watching.